rust and brain farts. All right. Well, I guess I had a little venting to do. Oh man, my hands are shot. All right, how are we doing? We've got like 40 people. It's not bad. It's not bad. How is everyone? We're doing okay? Let's make sure we're doing okay. My name's Steve Holmes. We are streaming live from Los Angeles, from the drum room. This is where we do some playing, where we do some chatting, and this is the part where you get to see, you get to watch me read. Folks that are interested in supporting the channel can leave a super with a little smiley face or the little $sign. You can leave a donation and support the channel. We're putting together some funds to upgrade the camera system here, get a new laptop, that kind of thing. So anyone interested in supporting the channel can click the super, or if you're watching this on YouTube later after it's live, there's a little thank you button. You can still support the channel even if the live stream is over. But the live stream is here. We're live. Let's see. Let's start at the beginning with the comments. We've got Will who says, "Hey Steve, gush." Yes, we did lots of gushing. For those that don't know, the gush is like the floor tom and the cymbal. Together, gush, we call it. Mike D, my good friend and my coworker. Good to see you back streaming, Holmes. Thank you, Mike. Let's see, Joshua says, "Steve, hi Steve, huge fan of yours." Thank you, Joshua. Steve, I'm your smallest fan, says Isaac. Isaac, man, it has been a minute since we've seen each other. Hey, I hope you're doing well. I feel like I'm like the Mr. Rogers of drumming at this point. Cheers, by the way. Let's see, Yowza, be careful with those licks. They're not toys. That's right. You got to be responsible with that stuff. Peter Jeffrey says, "Hi, Steve. Watching your left-hand fill-ins, ghost notes, accents, etc. Is this a result of incorporating rudiments or working out of syncopation and filling in left hand on exercises?" Well, it's a pretty loaded question. For those, sorry, I'm reading another comment. For those that are not hip to my channel, I would recommend checking out my lessons. I have a playlist on my channel. It's called Lessons, Steve Holm Lessons. There's a 3-part video lesson on there about double stroke rolls, how to get, it's like the secret to get clean double stroke rolls. There's a lot of very useful information in there in terms of getting like that flow going with, you know, that kind of constant double stroke roll and playing accents, kind of having the freedom to play whatever accents you want while you're playing double strokes, double stroke roll at the same time. I would definitely recommend checking that out. But I mean, to further answer your question, Peter, I mean, yeah, there's been a lot of rudimental drumming over the years. I got an early start on that stuff in marching band. There's another video on my channel that actually is a bunch of footage from those years. And I was pretty lucky at like, you know, 16, 17, 18 to be involved in an organization that was all about like clean doubles and drum corps style drumming. And so that really helped a lot. So yeah, check out that video and check out that series. Liam says, "Lovely stuff. Thank you." James says, "Oh my God, you are so, you are. Nice work." Okay, thank you, James. Mike T. Let's see, sweet cymbals. Thank you, Sam. What else do we got going on? Let's see, Uri, U-H-R-I. Let's see, Uri says, "You made a video about 30-second note paradiddles based on some years ago. Could you demonstrate those?" Sure, I can talk a little bit about that. That's actually something that I still work on. And it was kind of it was the key for me to be able to play like 30-second note phrasing at like medium tempos. And so for like you guys out there that have like the triplety thing going, the 16-note triplety thing, you know, where you're like, you know, you're good at improvising over triplets. Like I got to the point where I could improvise over 16-note triplets and kind of put accents where I wanted, and you know, kind of string together phrases and stuff, and you know, stiggada diggada 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 da, like that kind of thing. But at like slower tempos, 16-note triplets aren't going to cut it. you know. And it's funny because, you know, there's that famous video from the 80s with, you know, the Buddy Rich Memorial Scholarship Concert, you know, with Vinnie Colaiuta, Steve Gadd, Dave Weckl, and they play together at the end, the three of them. And I noticed that at that tempo, at that kind of slower medium tempo, you know, Vinnie was playing a lot of stuff that those other guys were not playing. A lot of it is, you know, not all of it obviously, but a lot of it is based on paradiddles, you know. So basically, like if you're playing kind of a medium or slower tempo, and you play like 30-second notes as paradiddles, then the first stroke of each paradiddle is actually the 8th note, right? So it sounds like this. And so once I stumbled upon that, I started experimenting with accenting different phrases, but using paradiddles to fill in stuff like this. You know, so at the end there, like, you know, I've kind of improvised some accents, you know, ba-dat, da, 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 da. Like those were the accents, but everything else was just paradiddles. And the way you get that freedom is you just practice all the different combinations, right? And it seems, it's the kind of thing that it's a simple concept, but it's kind of on you to take it to that level where you're playing the first stroke of every, you know, either paradiddle diddle or paraparadiddle or paraparadiddle diddle, like whatever it is, whatever one you need to give you that length from the first accent to the next accent, because that's the way you should start this stuff, is you just accent the first note of the paradiddle phrase. And then once you get comfortable, you can start accenting notes like in the middle of it, but then it gets like super crazy. But let me improvise some more with that stuff, okay? Instead of talking, you can kind of get a sense of what I'm doing. Right, like it's falling apart at the end there, right? But like you get the point. It's like you know, paradiddle diddle, right? For like dun dun dun, right? That's what I'm thinking. But it's like paradiddle 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 diddle, right? And then you can repeat the same thing, but now we're on the left hand because it was a paradiddle diddle. Sorry. And you can just keep that going, you know, dun 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 dun. You know, just come up with a one-bar phrase. Dun 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 sta da da. 2, 3, 4. Dun 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 sta da da. Right? Those are the accents, but you're filling everything with paradiddles, right? So that's a little bit more of that stuff. Like, I'm pretty sloppy today, you guys. Stuff's like falling apart and whatever, but it's important to know that like the concept remains the same regardless of like my ability to do it, right? It's just different paradiddle combinations. And I practice the different combinations, and the goal is to be able to like freely improvise very simple phrases, right? The accents are playing simple phrases. It's like dun 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 dun. Right, there's one bar. 4 dun 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 dun. Right, and you come up with a phrase that's one bar long like that. Memorize it, and then figure out like the paradiddle combination you need to play to facilitate those accents. Paradiddle, 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 diddle, paradiddle, you know, that kind of thing. You know, write it out, write a bar, and fill it up with 30-second notes, and put the accents where they go. And chances are there's either 4 or 6 or 2 notes between each accent. And so you'll know if there's 4, then do a paradiddle. If there's 2, then do a para. If there's 6, then do either a paradiddle or a paradiddle diddle. You know, either way, it's 6 notes, I think, right? Let's hope so. So that's that. And I've got a whole video about this on my channel that folks should check out, where I kind of go into this. And you know what? There's a PDF in the description you can download. So check that out. And maybe after the fact, I will put the link to that same PDF in the description of this video. So yeah, 30-second note phrasing using paradiddles. And I mentioned that Buddy Rich concert because, you know, that's kind of the first time I saw that stuff, and I was like, whoa, what's going on there? You know, it's like this you know, this whole other level of speed that you can get if you practice, you know, these paradiddle combinations. But I mean, it's not enough to just play it on one surface. Like, you got to put it around the kit, you know, and you got to slow it way down, get it under the microscope, like put it on the grid, you know, and try to be musical, like get the ability to improvise, you know. So there's that, and this is actually applicable to 16-note triplets too, and maybe we can get into that later. But I'm going to move on to other comments. So there's that, Uri. Racer X. If the Avengers had a drummer, it would be Steve Holmes. Thank you. Man, I love the Marvel stuff too. My wife and I watch the Marvel stuff all the time. And I'm bummed because I haven't seen the new Spider-Man movie because I don't want to go to the theater. And it's not available to stream yet. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Mike D cheering me on, thank you. Jean says, great cheers from France. Nice. What's some of your favorite fills in 6/8? Man, fills in 6/8. You know, I don't know. I don't know if I have, you know, favorite fills so much that, you know, I just like playing kind of like in 6/8 in general. And I can kind of touch on some of the, you know, some things that I like, that I'm kind of the place where you can go when you're in 6/8, and the freedom that you can get if you're thinking about, you know, the time, because 6/8 is so like, you know, for those that don't know, it's like 6/8 notes in a bar, so it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, got. You know, and so there's a lot of room there for different things, you know, and it's cool to be able to, in my opinion, I like to be able to go back and forth between, like, you know, the triplety 6/8 stuff and like the straight 8th, you know, straight 8 and 4/4 stuff, because they're both in the same, they both take up the same space. So it could be like, you know, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a, you know, you can kind of live in all those places, and the time doesn't change. And if you get familiar with the ability to do that, if you get comfortable playing in those different fields, and you can literally like weave them together, you know. This is kind of like big boy stuff now, you know. And a lot of it comes from like internalizing it and thinking about it and getting comfortable here before you can get comfortable here. You know, I tell a lot of my students that, like, it's got to happen here, you know, depending on what you believe here in your heart, or like but it has to happen inside before it comes out, right? And so it's important to kind of get that stuff internalized. But let's see. You know, there's to get started with the 6/8 stuff. I mean, I would just play that simple, like, you know, what is it? It's a paradiddle. Yeah, I think it's a paradiddle phrase, right? The classic, you know, ding ding, ding ding, ding ding, ding ding. You know, I mean, Weckl's the king of this stuff, you guys. If you want to hear freedom in 6/8, like Weckl's the king of this stuff, you know. There's a bunch of recordings that he's done that kind of have this feel. A good tune that demonstrates like 6/8 and 4/4 together. There's a tune that he did called Afrique with a Q. It's like AFRIQ. UE maybe at the end. It's the second song on an old record of his called Hardwired. That's right, Dave, I said old. But man, like listen to that tune, and it goes from like 6/8, 4/4, like 3/4, like it fits them all like in the bar. And if you listen, there's a click going the whole time of a shaker to the quarter note, and that listening to that kind of helped me like, oh, okay, these things kind of all live together. So I'll shut up and play a little in 6/8, and if I stumble on something that I think is cool, I'll stop and I'll talk about it. Man, and I know there's a lot. I know there's a lot going on there. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave the talkie mic on, and I'm just going to play really quietly, and kind of talk about what I'm doing, because, like I did some of that stuff there where it's like, okay, you're playing in 6/8 triplet, and then you kind of go to the straight thing, because you know I'm not thinking 6/8 anymore. I'm thinking just like 4/4 straight, you know, like straight up like 4/4 straight, you know. So it's like 16 notes in 4/4. 6/8. And it's funny, like, you know, it's kind of like a halftime shuffle, you know, the famous, you know, like the Rosanna shuffle, if you will. A lot of people call it that, like the halftime shuffle. It's like that can live in the same, it's like halftime shuffle, 6/8, like it's all can kind of flow in the same space, you know. So if you have all that stuff happening, then you know you want to get that freedom to be able to just kind of like pick and choose what you play, like in this feel, and be able to effortlessly do that, you know. So if you've spent the time practicing, like, then you can kind of do that like in the middle of a 6/8 thing, you know. There's some tunes I could think of, like there's a tune, we were just talking about this actually on Facebook. There's an old record called 3 Graces from a composer named Jeff Beal. He's a trumpet player. He does like TV stuff now. But he did this jazz record called 3 Graces. It's really hard to get. And there's a tune on there called I Saw Isabella. And it's this really cool like 6/80 thing. And Vinnie's on it. And through the whole thing, he's like cross-sticking the quarter note, right? So it's like... comfortable like living in both of these places. That's something else that helped me kind of get freedom with triplets, is like putting triplets in groups of 2, right? Which is kind of tricky because triplets are, you know, they're an odd number of notes. It's like 3, 3, 3. So once you start putting them in groups of 2, things get kind of crazy. And that's the kind of thing that you can do in 4/4 or 6/8, you know. And so I've practiced, you know, like quarter note on the right cymbal and just like triplets broken up between the left hand and the foot, you know, like. Sorry, the talkie mic's still on, right? So I need to play quiet. And the interesting thing about that is, like, if you take away the quarter note and you only play the groups of 2, then you're going to lose where the time is. You know, all you're going to hear is like dega duga dega duga dega duga, and so you're going to think the time is like cheka chuka. It's not. You know, the time is here. 3, 4. And all I'm doing there is I'm playing eighth note triplets and I'm breaking them up into groups of 2, right? And I'm doing it like in a really simple way. So you can do that, and you can start with a single one, right? Instead of doing like 2, 2, 2, you can start with a single, like 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, that kind of thing, right? I don't even know if I can do that. Like, let's try. Sorry. There it is. So I'm accenting 1 right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, that's tricky. Like, you can play a fill like that, and people are going to be like, whoa, what the heck was that? You know. And again, this is why it's important to provide the quarter note while you play this stuff, because if you don't, folks are going to get lost. You know. And so this is something else that you can apply to like 6/8. You know. Something else I like to do in 6/8 is like I really take advantage of like the shoulder on the ride cymbal thing. You know, like straight up accenting on the ride, you know, like taking control over the difference between like hitting it with the tip and then hitting it with the shoulder, and hitting it with the shoulder with the bass drum underneath of it. Like a lot of guys don't really take advantage of that stuff, you know, and I love doing that. Like these are different voices that I put in grooves, right? You know, like taking advantage of the voices of the ride cymbal, like taking control of that. I wasn't even hitting the bell there. Like you add the bell to that, it's like a fourth voice, right? You got like tip, shoulder with bass drum, and then bell with bass drum too, right? Because those all sound different. So you want to like practice like getting that stuff, and the goal again is like that musical freedom. So like in my head I hear like, you know, like that. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm trying to do. You know. You know, that's another cool thing to do is like, you know, those 4-note groupings. And again, this is like applicable on 6/8 or 4/4. You know, dat get dat get dat get that, you know, like the neo parody kind of like rock stuff that like is, you know, you're gonna end up doing on your own if you play for more than 5 minutes. So like, but it's 4 notes, right? This is what I'm saying. Like if you take a simple fill like this, you know, like. Like a lot of guys can do that, right? But it's 4 notes. That, like those are 4. So what I like to do is split them up into 2 and 2. And like you do 2 here and 2 here, it sounds completely different. You know, then the first 2 on the foot, which sounds really cool. I'm losing the hi-hat quarter note. right? So I'll play a fill that's like, you know, whatever, and I'll use all three of those. You know, I'll do on the snare, I'll do tom and snare, and then I'll do the foot and snare, or like 2 feet and then right left on tom and snare. Like it's just 4 notes. You orchestrate them a bunch of different ways. You know, you practice so you could get the freedom to play it like however you want, and you take the same fill and you just milk it and get a ton of different stuff out of it. You know, this is like the way to go. You know, and if you play that like in a faster context, like in straight 4, you know, like straight up like rock and roll, progressive rock, you know, you know, like. You know, like I'm butchering that pretty good there, but the point remains. You know, it's like 4 notes, you know, 2 and 2, you know, 2 feet, 2 hands, like whatever. Like you take the simple phrase, and guys do like, you know, what I call the checklist style of practicing, which is like, well, I can do that. Check. Don't need to work on that anymore. You know. Meanwhile, you're missing out on all this cool stuff. So there's some 6/8 talk for you. Let's move on. Just moved to the bigger city. Any tips on finding practice spaces? Not really, man. Like, just be persistent. You know, ask, like, just blanket, ask everyone, and just keep hitting up the Googles. You know, talk to drummers, find out where they're practicing. You know, just keep at it. That's kind of all you can do. You know. Let's see. Is that a Weckl snare I see in the background? Yes, it is. We've got a pearl brass, a Weckl. We've got my other Phoenix, my 12-inch tom back there, and another little Yamaha snare back there, which I usually have here. I might bring that back, actually. And then I've got my old recording customs here. Who's playing keys over this right now? I wish someone was playing keys. Let's see. Awesome. Thank you for the compliments, you guys. Let's see. I was wondering when you splash your hats and keep time. Oh, we've got a bunch of, let's see, Peter Jeffrey donated. Thank you very much, Peter. Yeah, I'm happy that helped. Let's see, James Labra with the $5 donation. Thank you very much, James. Really appreciate it. If you guys want to support the channel, hit that super button. And if we're not live and you're watching on YouTube, hit that thanks button and support the channel. It's my little digital change cup here on the corner of the internet. Okay, we're keeping up with the comments. I lost my spot. Let's see. I was wondering, when you splash your hat, keep time. Are you doing it? Oh, heel up or heel down? You know what? I'll see if I can point my camera down and give you a look. Someone was asking about Swiss triplets, and so I'm going to demonstrate some Swiss triplet stuff. Okay, like playing 16th notes and putting cymbals in the middle of them. Sorry, I thought maybe my mic was off. That's actually a Flam paradiddle at the end, but there is a Swiss triplet in there. It's like Flam right left. But yeah, when someone says Swiss triplet, I mean my information is like, left-handed Flam, which means the left hand comes down second, and then just right left. Right? So I mean the first thing is like get comfortable playing that over triplets, and then get comfortable playing that over 16th notes. So if you're playing groups of 3 16th notes, that means you're accenting the dotted eighth. Which is 4 over 3, right? So that's going to go over the bar line if you're in 4. So you just want to get used to that stuff and like write it out. Write a bar of 16th notes, accent every third, and just pay attention to where that accent is, But in terms of like creative phrasing, like, that Flam, I just put it, with a cymbal and a drum together, And when you do that Flam, like you want to pay attention to like, do you want the Flam to be both together flat? Do you want the Flam to be like kind of open and sloppy, like Elveny where the cymbal's first? Do you want to do that kind of Flam but with the bass drum underneath? Like these are things that you want to pay attention to, and you want to do them on purpose, right? Because this sounds completely different than this. Especially in the context of a phrase. That's something else you can milk. Like when you're playing, those Swiss triplets, like your left hand is actually playing kind of a shuffle thing. It's literally going like dat, 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 dat. And so once you realize that, you can just play Swiss triplets over and over. You can put your right hand on the cymbal at the beginning, and then your left hand on different surfaces. And then you get for free, you kind of get this des da des do doos do doos da des da des do doos do doos, like while your right hand is playing cymbals at the beginning of each one. So the goal there is like, the Swiss Flam thing, but like mixing it in with like, Flam paradiddles, right? Which is like a paradiddle with a Flam at the start of it, right? Mixing and matching that stuff. I've been kind of messing with that stuff lately, and again, the goal is to like improvise and play the phrases that are in my head, like check it, digga, check it, digga, check it, check it, check it, digga, check it, digga, check it, check it, check it, check it, digga, check it, digga, check it, digga, check it, digga, check it, check it, check it, cha. Right? Like when it gets really slower, like you're just playing eighth note triplets, but in groups of 4. And so people are going to get really, whoa, what is that? It's super out phrasing. It's not. It's just eighth note triplets in groups of 4. Like take 10 minutes and write it out, and see what it looks like, see what it feels like. Because once you internalize how these phrases sound, folks, that's it. Like you got it for the rest of your life. It's not going to get updated with the next year's version. This is what I tell all my students. It's like learning, the mathematics of rhythm and subdivisions and translating that into cool drumming, you know, and making sure it's on the grid and understanding like once you learn all that stuff, that's it. It's not like computer code where it's like, oh, did you get the 2023 version of rhythms? Man, they added all those 5s and 7s. I'm never going to learn. Like that's not what's going to happen. Like once you get it, you get it, and you don't have to worry about it. Like, you just keep working on it, you know, and keep getting like new phrasing out of these existing ideas, you know, which I think is pretty cool. So more, I didn't really, the thing I was doing before, like with the toms and the cymbals, you know, like do 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 bo do do do, like that's what I was thinking, but like with a cymbal in the middle, and that kind of has a Swiss triplet in the middle of it. It's not exactly a Swiss triplet, but it uses the same sticking. It's actually Flam paradiddles, right? Paradiddle with the Flam at the beginning. You know, like I had to slow it down there because I couldn't play that. Like the phrase that I heard in my head was, you know, chagga doos dooj. And I couldn't pull it out, so you gotta like slow it down and teach your limbs like what that feels like. So those are some uses of Swiss flams and Flam paradiddles. Yeah, I hope that was helpful. Let's see, what else do we got? Thanks for hanging out, folks. Demonstrate Swiss. Okay, we talked about that. Let's see. Is it an issue with your pedal? Oh, someone's talking about the foot thing. Yeah, I mentioned the pedal. It could be the pedal. Let's see. San Marzano gave a donation. Thank you very much. Well, it could be that. It's just an idea. I started practicing into a click. Okay. Yeah, working out the foot, you guys. That's good. Peter Jeffrey with the donation. Thank you very much. Let's see. Zito Kosher. Yet there's room for the other instruments too. The sax drops right in. Yeah, we're talking about, you know, like the keyboard vamping along with what I'm playing and whatever. I love playing halftime shuffle in 6/8. I'm okay in triplets and 16-note triplets, but when I go into straight 16ths and use groupings, I push or pull and lose the feel. Groups of 2 is a great idea. Yeah, I love groups of 2. Yeah, ant call. You just got to turn on the click and practice, you know, switching gears. 6/8, straight 4, 6/8, straight 4. You know, I like to have like a quarter note going the whole time. So when I'm feeling 6/8, like I can always hear that, you know, just, you know, like that driving pulse is underneath all the time for me. Let's see, James LeBras with the $5 donation. Thank you very much. Hello, Steve. Really enjoy your playing. Do you have any licks to share or examples to speak of where you? Oh, sorry. People are like, your mic is off. Turn off the mic. Sorry, I'm getting to those comments. My mic's on now, you guys, okay? Let's just speak of where you may displace the bass drum to make a flam between your hands or foot or feet. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit, but I can do that some more. I mean, there's one thing in particular that I think is pretty cool. Using the bass drum like underneath a cymbal for a flam, you know, and this is like a fusion-y kind of thing, but like, you know, a flam like with the bass drum under the cymbal and then the snare after it. But having that as like, you know, a backbeat almost in a fill, you know, like ba-da-da, you know, that kind of thing. Ba-da, you know, like with a ghost note afterwards. you know, different kind of Flam phrasing, but you want to do that stuff on purpose. You know, like at the end there, I was like, bloom, doom, bloom, like put like left hand on the tom, like with a crash cymbal, big Flam. You know, with double stroke rolls in between, you know. And that stuff is like, again, like you want to be intentional about like how open, how sloppy, or how like tight those flams are. You know, you want to be in charge of all that stuff, and don't have any of it be by chance, because that's how it happens to sound based on the way I practiced it. Like, you don't want to be that person, you know. Everything that you play needs to be the way that you want it, not the way that it happens to be. Sorry about having my mic off earlier. Like, I see all these comments, you know. Demonstrate cross-sticking patterns. Like cross-sticking patterns or like cross-sticking patterns? Oh, my samba ideas, man. I'm not a good, I don't have a good samba, you know. My samba's no good. Unmute the mic, please. The mic, you forgot to turn the mic on. Everyone's going crazy. All right, the mic's on, you guys. Can't hear, probably really important stuff. Yeah, we talked about Swiss triplets. You know, that's when the mic was off, that's all. So I think we covered that. All right, let's see, so much drum wisdom going to waste because my mics are off. You guys are funny. Let's see, he's gonna feel really stupid when he realizes it. Yes, man, all right, yeah, I'm just catching up. The mic's on, we're talking about stuff, everything's fine. Computer code, let's see, which one? Computer code is easier for me, yeah. All the lessons help. Let's play with a live band anytime soon. I'm not playing live with a band anytime soon. Thanks, Steve. Cool as always. Love your videos, especially the double stroke roll ones you made. Yeah, the 3-part double stroke roll one has some pretty cool information there, I think. That also has a PDF I think you can download in the description. Let's see, love your videos. Okay, we did that. Loving your work, thank you. Thanks for all the amazing knowledge. I've learned more from Steve than anything else on YouTube. He's the best teacher in the way he explains his ideas. Thank you very much, Ant Call. Really appreciate it. Let's see, between the voices. Yeah, I think, man, yeah, I think we're all caught up on comments. So I'm going to play a little bit more, and then I guess we'll call it because we're a little over an hour now. So I'm going to keep playing. Anyone interested in supporting the channel, hit that super button. A little $sign, a little smiley face. You can leave a contribution. Trying to get some more cameras and more laptops and stuff here. And if you're watching this after the stream is done on YouTube, then there's a little thank you button. You can click on that and support the channel that way. It would be great. Support musicians. All right, so I'm going to play a little bit more, and we'll see what happens. Okay, thanks for hanging out, folks. All right. We're getting a little carried away there, a little sloppy. Oh, man. All right. Thanks for hanging out, you guys. My name's Steve Holmes. We're streaming live from Los Angeles. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for all the questions and comments. Sorry I forgot to turn my mic on earlier. Yeah, that's it. If you want to support the channel, please do so. Hit that super. Click that thank you button. And let's keep the good thing going. Let's keep the live, the free flow of drumming knowledge going. All right, thanks for hanging out. Let's see, how do you know what tempo to be proficient with each rudiment? Like when to stop speed-wise? Well, you know, I want to be able to play my stuff at like a variety of tempos, and so I just practice at different tempos, like slow, medium, fast. And because you'd be surprised, like the stuff that your fast stuff might actually sound cooler when it's played slow, especially if it's like clean stuff at slow tempo sounds really cool, I think. And so it's important for me to play at a variety of tempos in terms of like knowing when to stop. It's like, well, when I can't do it anymore, you know, I mean, it depends on how important speed is to you, you know. But when I say slow, I mean like 50 and 60. And when I say, you know, fast, I mean like, you know, whatever, you know, 150, 170, 180, you know. But it's got to feel good, you know. It's not enough to just like, yep, I can play that fast, check, you know. Like you want to sound relaxed at different tempos. That's hard, you know. Let's see, drumstheword.com says, Drumeo, what's that? I really like Drumeo, actually. I really like the production value that Drumeo has. Their stuff sounds so good. Like Giergo Borlai and Dave DiCenzo on Drumeo is like some of my favorite performances ever. Like those guys are such amazing drummers, and they sound particularly good in that environment because the Drumeo guys have that drum sound like dialed in. It's really cool. Also Rodney Holmes on there I really liked. I really like Rodney Holmes' playing. Let's see, Mackie K with the donation. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Great sound musically. Thank you very much, Greg. All right, that's it. My name is Steve Holmes. See you next time.